Hello, it is Jacinta Mpali Nkana, and today's topic is about the death of communication. And I'll be sharing with you 5 actions that we can take to revive, strengthen, and create new rewarding relationships first for within ourselves and for the people we meet. To begin, consider this quotation by Dr. Douglas Kelly of the Institute of Metaphysical Humanistic Science. Communication and trust are the 2 most important ingredients of any relationship. Communication and trust are the 2 most important ingredients of any relationship. Without communication, first to yourself, without trusting yourself, this is exactly what you're going to take out in the world. You're going to take out a person who doesn't know how to communicate with confidence, a person who is negative, because that's the language they use to define and communicate to themselves. And as a result, with that foundation of negative relationships with ourselves, we go out there and express ourselves the same way. So to begin, I'm going to share the problems. What's the problem? Why is communication dying? And before even going to that, what are the repercussions of communication dying? I mean, look at our youth. You look at our kids. Look at the new generation, how they communicate to their teachers, how they communicate to their friends. They don't even know how to communicate. They get guns and kill each other. They don't know how to deal with anger. They don't know how to deal with stress. They don't know how to communicate their feelings. They don't know how to express themselves. But they believe that by just fighting, or that they are so bogged up with all these negative emotions or whatever else is going on as acquired from their environment, and they just act or react in ways that are, oh my God, so brutal, so negative. So the more we realize the dangers of the death of communication, that old-fashioned way of communicating, sitting down with your friend or writing an email or whatever, keeping it straightforward, being assertive, positively assertive, and communicating our truth, the better we'll be able to develop good relationships, thriving relationships that we can base on to progress either in our businesses or even just having peer groups or people in our, people we can relate to who believe in what we believe in or who support our dreams. Now, what's the problem? Why do people communicate so poorly? What are some of the factors that have created the death of communication? Factor number 1 is suspicion. We are a very suspicious community, society, era. Everyone is suspicious about another. Everyone is walking and looking with the side of their eye, at the side, looking at the person next to them. What are they going to do? What are they going to say? I guess this is based on our experiences or all the negative programming around us. The news. We hear all these news about people dying and people shooting others and this and that happening and that and this happening. There is so much negativity. So we are programmed to believe that everyone is out to get us. So we move around like suspicious bombs, and that gets us to block relationships that could have been so meaningful. We literally suspend or judge, which is point number 2. We are very judgmental. We judge others not according to who they are, but maybe according to what they look like, maybe according to their accent, maybe according to their color or job or whatever it's called, subconscious prejudice. We just discriminate others subconsciously because maybe there are groups we have dealt with, or there is someone we've dealt with in the past that has behaved in a negative way. So we subconsciously believe that everyone in that group of people, everyone from that race or from the group of people who the person who had you come from, is the same. So we generalize, we categorize, we recruit assumptions that do not support us. And I will explain that further. Of course, you understand that English is not my first language, so sometimes I am a little bit challenged in expressing myself. But the point I was trying to make, for instance, say you deal with a lawyer and that lawyer was a jackass. So you go out there thinking that you subconsciously determine, conclude that all lawyers are jackasses. So the next time you meet a lawyer, it doesn't matter whether they are good, bad, male, female, short, tall. You just have that subconscious belief that, oh my God, lawyers are jackasses. Before you even know the person, you have this subconscious prejudice and discrimination. So you discriminate against the person because they are lawyers, because of your past experience with a lawyer. And as such, you could miss out on the beauty of the relationship that you could develop with this lawyer. What is the other reason why communication is dying? Technology, apparently, it's very sad because technology seems to be communicating to us better than our fellow human being. But when you flip the coin, there is so much technology, there are so many gadgets, there is so much, people have beepers and cell phones and iPads and iPods and I don't even know, so many gadgets with so many apps, Instagram, Printex, Facebook, Twitter, and I don't know, Vector, YouTube, so many apps that keep us so engaged and zoomed into them that we forget our fellow human beings. Often I go in a restaurant and people have come together maybe as a family and they sit down and the first thing they do is pull out their cell phones and they eat when each one of them is looking at their cell phone. They don't even talk. They are eating with one hand and holding the cell phone in another. So why do you get together at all if you're going to be with your cell phone, if you're going to be on Twitter? And then the other problem is because we have developed a them esteem. We are consistently looking for validation using social media. Everywhere we go, we take pictures. Oh, I'm this. Oh, this is the food I'm going to eat. Oh, this is what I'm going to wear. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And then instead of enjoying the moment, we are so busy taking pictures of the moment. We miss the moment because we are taking pictures of the moment. And then the only time we get to enjoy this moment after it's passed is if we post the moment on social media and someone validates or gives us a like, and then we're like, oh my God, yeah, it was really good. Was it really good? No, it wasn't. You were not present. We are busy thinking about what your friends would say or how many likes you would get if you took a picture of that moment. So technology is our best friend and worst enemy. We created it and we are using it to chain us into boxes, to make us lonely. We are very lonely people, and can you imagine how our youth, how our future generations are going to behave and what type of relationships they are going to have, because we haven't shown them that human interaction and face-to-face communication or even emails or wherever are very, very crucial. They're very important in sustaining our human conditions. Okay, human condition. And then the other factor is the fear of rejection. We are so afraid of being rejected. Like I said, we have them esteem, meaning that we look up to others to validate us. We are so accustomed to short-term gratification. So as a result, we don't want to be rejected. So we don't really communicate our truth. We don't even want to communicate because we are so afraid of someone saying no. We are afraid of receiving that no. Yet we forget that no one can reject us. They just probably rejected our idea. Actually, the word rejection is a very big word. If someone says no to you, they cannot, that doesn't mean they reject. It doesn't mean they rejected you. It only means that either they did not connect to your offer, they did not like what you are saying, or they have their own issues. We have to stop making it about ourselves. In a nutshell, the reasons why there is a death of communication is suspicion, fear. Number 2, judgment. 3, technology taking over human interaction. 4, negative programming. We are so programmed, we just move around like, I don't know, negative bombs. And 5, the fear of rejection. So the next portion, we are going to go into what can we do to bring communication back to life? How can we become better communicators so that we can develop more healthy relationships? Point number 1, or tip number 1, is to be present. When you're present, you're able to examine what's in front of you and know, at least try and know the truth of the person in front of you, instead of your thoughts running to the past or thinking about tomorrow. Well, the past takes you back to probably what happened with somebody else that is similar to the person in front of you, which creates subconscious prejudice or discrimination actions. You subconsciously discriminate someone because your head is way back in the past. Your mind is dwelling in the past instead of the present. So the number one key, the number one tool we can use to be better communicators is to be present. Listen to understand and not to respond. Seek to understand and not to be understood. Seek to understand first. Enjoy. Show that you are interested in the person in front of you. If you don't have time to show all that, then postpone your meeting. And for dinners, for those of you who go out with your cell phones and wherever, taking pictures everywhere, you're missing out on that amazing dinner and those beautiful interactions with your friends and family because you're so busy on your phone. Tip number 2 is don't make assumptions. Leave the assumptions in your drawer at home. When you go out there with assumptions in your mind, you are creating an experience with someone before you even know about them. You are already polluting the relationship with the person you're going to meet. You're the person you're making assumptions about before you really know them. So you're carrying baggage, emotional baggage. You're consistently making assumptions because you are, first of all, it goes back to being present. You are in the past carrying the baggage into the future. You make assumptions because, first of all, another reason why we make assumptions is because we want to be right. We don't want anyone else to be different from us. We just go about making assumptions because we want to protect our own lives. Why else do we make assumptions? We make assumptions because we are lazy. We don't want to take time to learn more about the people, things that we are dealing with. We just make our assumptions because it's easier. Making assumptions meaning you're going back to the past and drawing that information to perceive the future. And when we make assumptions, we don't communicate freely. We don't communicate from a new, fresh background. We communicate based on baggage. So don't make assumptions. If you don't understand something, ask. If somebody, for instance, dealing with people, we live in a very diverse environment where people are coming from different places. They have different accents. They communicate differently. Instead of prejudicing and discriminating the person because they have an accent, because you don't understand what they are saying, don't make assumptions. Ask what they meant, and if they know how to communicate, they will repeat themselves and make themselves clear. All right. Tip number 3 is know that it's okay to respond with a no. Oh my God. Sometimes you send an email, say inviting people for something, and they just keep quiet. Remember, communication and trust are the 2 most important ingredients of any relationship. So if I send you an invitation, maybe I have a seminar or maybe I have a party or something, I think about you and send you an invitation. All it takes is send me a response saying, no, I'm sorry, I won't make it. You don't even have to give me a reason, but I believe it's very respectful if you just sit down for a second, text, keep that relationship going by saying no, by responding. very many of us, some people behave as though they know the future, so they block out and really mistreat others, disrespect them, never respond, criticize them, and do all sorts of, like bad communication, practice bad communication, because they think they know the future about that person. Okay, so what if the person you did not communicate well to happens to be your boss in the future, or someone stands out in your field, an expert, and you have to reach out to them to help you, and they are the only ones who could help you? What would you do? You already burnt the bridges. You already exercised bad communication with them. You never responded to them. Maybe you criticized them and ridiculed them. What if in the future you need them? What are you gonna do? So the idea is to communicate in a responsive way instead of a reactive way, is to respond with a no. Take time to respond to requests from the people who have reached out to you. Send a no, send a no. Let the person know that you acknowledge their communication, but you probably won't make it, or you won't do it. Respond. No is also an answer. The fourth tip is accept people as they are. Like I said earlier, we are all diverse, which is what makes our world very, very beautiful. If we are all the same, speaking the same language, with the same accent, expressing ourselves the same way, trust me, this will be a very boring world. We will be so bored, because there is nothing different from us. There is nothing to compare. There is nothing diverse. Diversity is what creates beauty. That's why there are rainbows. That's why there are different colors, to remind us that the diversity gives us a chance to experience what's different from us. So accept people for who they are, because trust me, in their minds they think you're different. They think you're weird, and you think the same thing. So accept each other's weirdness, so that you communicate with them, again going back to judgment, without making assumptions, and being present, becoming interested in what makes them different. And then tip number 6, I think 5, follow up. Follow up, respond. Actually, there are 4 tips only, because following up and responding are in being present and knowing that it's okay to respond with a no. All right, in a nutshell, how can we bring communication back to life? Tip number 1, let's be present. Tip number 2, let's not make assumptions. Tip number 3, let's accept others for who they are. Tip number 4, know that it's okay to respond with a no. Follow up. If you don't have time to communicate, or if you're extremely busy, come up with the to-do list so that you really communicate, follow up with the people who have reached out to you, and then respond instead of react. Because when you react, that's bad communication. You could be ridiculing others, judging them or criticizing them, maybe because you are dealing with your own stuff and you're bringing it out on other people who don't even know what's going on in your world. I know that if we can embrace these tips and teach them to our youth, then we shall be creating a better world for them, where they'll be able to develop and sustain more rewarding relationships. Now, I've written a book a few years ago called Communicating Your Way to Success: How to Master the Art of Persuasion, Positively Influence Others, and Stand Out from Your Crowd. If you want to know about how to communicate better, please check out the book. If not, still consider these tips, embrace them, and make them your own. In the interim, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'm sending you God's love and light. Bye for now.